Final thoughts, the screw tape letters. Before we finish this course, one final Lewis book remains that deserves some discussion. The screw tape letters really bends multiple genres because it works as satire, apologia, and fantasy fiction. Not only that, the unusual format written as letters also sets the 1942 novel apart from not only Lewis's other work but also from other fantastic novels. Senior Demon Screwtape corresponds with Wormwood, his nephew, and a junior tempter regarding the patient, a soul that the younger must damn to hell. Lewis' sense of didacticism comes to the fore in Screwtape as the author lays out a series of lessons on how to avoid temptation. Screwtape, a bureaucrat in the lowerarchy of hell, writes a total of 31 letters detailing how his nephew can derail the patient's attempts to remain good. Things get tougher for Wormwood when the patient becomes a Christian. Screwtape dresses him down for even allowing this to happen. However, Wormwood's biggest problem comes in the form of his lack of subtlety. Specifically, Wormwood tries to get his charge to commit big sins, whereas Screwtape advises him to work on lower levels such as laziness and procrastination. After several missives, Wormwood begins to get discouraged as he admits to discovering the power of God's love. Screwtape becomes increasingly agitated as the patient meets a good Christian girl. Eventually, Screwtape begins to transform into a centipede as a result of his extreme ire and anger at Wormwood's lack of success in corrupting the man. When the patient dies in the World War II Blitz on London, the man travels to heaven, even as Wormwood receives punishment in hell for his failure. A few years later, in 1959, Lewis composed a sequel entitled Screwtape Proposes a Toast, which found its way into, first, the Saturday Evening Post. The focus of the short work actually matches up with some of the commentary on the state of education in the UK that Lewis had made in The Silver Chair. These days, the two works nearly always appear together in one edition, and the shorter one, with the shorter one listed as an addendum following the main story. In the essay, Screwtape gives a speech to the Tempter's Training College, for Young Demons, wherein he comments on the lowering of standards in education. Screwtape advises the other demons to specifically exploit the framework of this subversion of the learning process, jumping on the lower level of individual intellectual capability. In doing so, he advises the demons that they can speed up the inevitable overthrow of the West by communism, synergizing their efforts to destroy mankind. In any case, there have been several quite laudable audiobook versions of the two works that have come out over the years. One was done by John Cleese and Josh Ackland. Another produced by Focus on the Family in the form of a radio drama starring Andy Serkis, who you might know from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, playing the voice and the basic actions of Gollum, even though that's a CGI character. In any case, Andy Serkis voicing Screwtape in that Focus on the Family production. A number of adaptations of the works have made it, have come out for the stage. Of course. The first is called Dear Wormwood by James Forsyth, 1961. They changed some events, having Wormwood try to pray to God for forgiveness when he fails at the end of the drama. That version still plays occasionally today. Now, in 2000, Anthony Lawton wrote a script for Screwtape that any number of companies have produced, which incorporates several song and dance numbers. The Fellowship of the Performing Arts put up a new version by Max McLean and Jeffrey Fisk that appeared on the off-Broadway area of New York back in 2006. It went to Off-Broadway in 2007 and migrated over to Chicago's Mercury Theater in 2008. It finally commenced a national tour just not too long ago, 2010. The story works well in other media. Also, Bill Watson's Calvin and Hobbes introduced Calvin's teacher, Miss Wormwood, in a Sunday edition in 1985, and Marvel Comics and Thomas Nelson teamed up to adapt the Screwtape text into a comic book incarnation in 1994. It does seem that the 20th and the 21st centuries, in the 20th and 21st centuries, authors and readers alike see film adaptation as the highest form of praise, right? Naturally, then, many have looked forward to the Screwtape Letters movie since 20th Century Fox first bought the option shortly after publication of the book. With the success of the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter films, as well as the lesser triumph of the Narnia pictures, Fox and Walden Media planned an adaptation for 2008. The project currently hovers in infamous on-hold status, though. Without a doubt, though, in my humble view, the most intriguing production inspired by Screwtape appeared on Fox Television, on the Fox Television Network in 1998, when the X-Files spin-off drama known as Millennium aired Somehow Satan Got Behind Me. The episode showed up near the end of the second season of the program's 3-year run. Darren Morgan, who's been involved in the television show Fringe, wrote and directed the segment, which features a coven of demons who meet to plan their misdeeds and swap their stories in an all-night coffee shop. All seem to have fallen on hard times thanks to the show's main protagonist, Frank Black, played by Lance Hendrickson, who doesn't even show up in this episode until the very, very end. Though not exactly a direct adaptation, Millennium's Somehow Satan Got Behind Me remains my single favorite episode of that series, primarily because of how Screwtape so heavily informs the story. All right, it seems that we are at an end here in discussing the literary works of C.S. Lewis. I thank you so much for sticking through, and we still have a bit to do before the course is over. So I will be seeing you for the workshopping of our analysis papers. So long.